Good. Excellent. How are you guys? So this is a sector update. So I'm going to say to you, just for my own sake, if you got some lukewarm ones, let's put them out there anyhow. And if you don't have one, don't feel bad because there's just so much stuff going on that seems like the same as last month has an equal heightened amount on it. That I can get why you say I don't have any updates, but like, if you got something on your mind about the sector, that's good to share too. Because likely somebody else has the same thing. So what are mine? And as I talk, I'm forgetting about them really quickly. So a few different things. I did a webinar. I did one of those Globe Mail. If you're a subscriber to the Globe Mail like myself, they do free webinars often, and they had one on AI. And they was like, oh, everybody was so excited about the results of it. I just found it really like nothing new from anything you guys would have already heard and dispensed. But some of the things that were on there, and I guess for me, because I still like my one client is like a full-time client, right? And I see the activity there. I know they're going through some challenges with layoffs and I would call it layoffs and shuffling. So one department's moving up, one department's moving down. There's a lot of shuffling. But one of the things that the four candidates, and it was the guy from the CEO from Clutch, if you've heard it, like, so if you ever looked at buying a used car, really interesting. Like I would say, it's still a pretty disruptive idea, and like not really disruptive idea, but it is disrupting the market. Like you think, why didn't somebody else do this like a long time ago? They had the people that sponsored it is a company called Kindle, which is not the Kindle. And it's Kindle spelled different than the book. Kindle one. They're a split off of IBM, focused on technology. Well, IBM on technology. And then they had a lady from she's a company called B2B Match, representing like the small to medium business, and somebody from BO that was the chief AI and data strategist. And they flipped back and forth a lot of questions. And one of them came about talking about staff and like how, just like Jeff Bezos, they're not hiring anybody. If you want to hire somebody, you have to provide an explanation why you can't do it with an agent or whatever. And like talking, delightfully about it. And I can't help but think of everybody's whose jobs are being displaced and uplift. At the same time, it's exciting what they're doing, but at the same time, it just felt a little bit troublesome. And I want to say, it's kind of like when you're driving a black car, you notice all the black cars on the market. But being a freelancer and seeing wonderful, talented people coming in the market out of corporate, it just feels like a flood of that happening now. So it was a bit disturbing to see that, but also exciting to see the challenges they were facing and how they were tackling it. And it was just like they might have been 5 minutes ahead of us or 5 minutes behind us, either way. But it was interesting. So that was one take. And just other things, I did I covered for my colleagues some RFP scanning, and just surprised at the flatness of the market, where there's typically hundreds and hundreds of opportunities we're sorting through. There's a real tepidness of the market right now. And I think with that world, it's a public sector. There's a lot of things that have to happen before an RFP goes out to market. So it's like they're always perpetually 3 months, 6 months behind because of that approval process and all the steps they got to take to put it out to market. So it's just it could be a timing thing. It could be it's a holiday. There's a lot of things that could disrupt that. But it was just like, well, what's going on here? Is this reflecting to the rest of the market? So that was a little bit concerning. And my third thing, I'm going to probably have to remember when you guys start talking because it slipped my brain. But I did finish off all the quarterly meetings. It was great to see you guys one-on-one in the meetings. I want to put it out there. There's at times that you guys have said, hey, Vanessa from Hamilton might want to go to the Toronto meeting and vice versa. I'm right in the middle of all of them. And if you guys are thinking about doing the trip and you're worried about the crazy gas prices right now, let's make a reach out the next time I do it. We'll meet somewhere on the highway and take one car instead of two. Like Marta and I have done that. I know she does it with Dorothy all the time. Just do some carpooling and get you guys to see some of the other folks because it's nice. The other meetings tend to be Hamilton. I'm looking like Hamilton tends to be the best turn out, just because I just feel like it's got that local vibe, like that they do turn out in numbers. But the Toronto is always a really interesting one. We go to what I learned, an Israeli restaurant, Christine. I've been going there I don't know how many times, but I had no idea. I just thought they had a pretty broad menu. So it's a nice sit down place. We always get a booth, and the folks in Toronto just got a different lens. Speaking from Christina's perspective, they've got a lot more in-person opportunities. I feel like I'm a little jealous. Maybe I just don't know of them that are around, but just Toronto just seems to have that sort of vibe where it's not hard to get to a meetup. So they're interesting folks. And the Mississauga one's pretty easy to get to. It's off the 401 too. So again, if you guys are thinking about trying one in a different location, talk to me, talk to somebody else, get a carpool going so it's not as a big a lift for you. But that's it. And that said, hopefully, I can remember the third thing I was thinking of. I know it was something, but anyhow, how about you guys? Big things, little things are completely fine. No things. What's new with you? I caught up with you a little bit, Christina. I feel like there's probably not a lot you could share, but if you have something new that I feel like we just talked yesterday or whatever. Same with Kim and I, or we just met in Mississauga. That was last Tuesday, right? So a week ago. So not too bad. And then Catherine, we met like I've met you guys all face to face this month, so it was good. But what's going on in your world? Vanessa, I haven't talked to you other than we did a little bit of talk in Hamilton at the meetup. So how's things?
Yeah, good. I feel like definitely things are slow. Like I have projects on the go, but either things are like being delayed or like just struggling to get like sign off. So I feel like there's things in the pipeline, but they're just not happening quickly, which I feel like is a lot of people saying similar things. But I've had a good month, and like this month looks okay. So I'm just kind of like head down, and I don't know if that's the best approach. Like maybe I should be more proactive, but I'm kind of like just taking whatever work I can get and just, I don't know, getting it done. I've been doing a lot of like mentoring over the last month, which has been really nice. Someone reached out to me from a webinar I presented a couple months ago with the city, and he's starting his own copywriting business in like the healthcare space, and so he was asking for help. So I've been helping him like on his website and how to position himself, because I think he's very good at the technical writing, but he's not great at the sort of copy side of it. So that's been nice, and it's been nice to kind of feel like I'm helping out. I've also become a mentor for this business competition at McMaster called Mars Apprentice. So I'm working with yeah. So I've been working with one of the teams trying to help just provide some direction. And it sounds like a really cool like competition, like business case competition. And then I did last week, the city of Hamilton does like Starter Company Plus. So I've been mentoring there as well and doing the grant committee. So having people come in and pitch their business and then, either approving them or not approving them for the grant. So that's been pretty cool. Like, obviously all of that is sort of not making me money, but it's kind of filling my cup in a way. It's nice to feel like you're giving back, and it's cool to see all the new businesses that are launching in Hamilton. That's like my favorite part, is like looking at what's on the horizon. So that's been pretty cool.
You have not been sitting still in any stretch of the way. Not at all. These are all good. So that Mars program, when I worked at Jan Kelly marketing.
Yes, Jan Kelly's still involved in him.
Yeah, so they were the guy who was the CEO. No, he's not there anymore. What used to teach in the MBA program, and they did a lot of hiring from that program. Very smart kids, very interesting things. So kudos for doing that.
Yeah,
and
it gives me like a lot of I feel very confident about the next generation of like people coming into the workforce, because I know sometimes it can be very depressing, but like they're so ambitious and driven and smart. So it gives me faith in the young folk.
Yeah, and there's something about going back and talking to folks. For me, I get a little bit excited. Like there's a little bit of like that passion of like, you see this whole window in front of them, and that's sort of like that hope kind of blends over on you as well. I got approached by this company called Careers Conversations. It's an Ontario charity thing. I swear, this is me. I am so paranoid. They reached out to me. I checked them out 3 ways to Sunday, thinking this has got to be fraud, right? And then finally accepted it, and then went to my son's school. I said, "Look, son, I have some bad news for you. I'm going to be at your school today. I'll promise. If I see you, I won't say hello to you. Don't worry, I will not wreck your image." But these are grade 9 and 10 students doing, if you guys remember taking a career, you have to take the career class, which is great. Like gets you first thinking about it. So I had to blather on about my career, and it was just like, oh man, these kids they're gonna know for sure that I'm a scammer. Like I'm not like, sir, how do I avoid being like you? Like, what steps did you take so I can just take the exact opposite? It was
Did they
getting it
ask
right.
you any questions?
So they did give us a little bit of a warning that a lot of them, kids will be thinking, even though they're looking at their navels and they had photos. One kid, his head is right down on the table, like full out of sleep and stuff. But there's a few there. Like I just kind of like, I'll be honest, my throat got sore. So I'm like, okay, I can't talk anymore. I'm going to ask you guys some questions. Sorry about that. But I need you guys to talk. And there's some really smart kids. Like some like me didn't have a clue, but some had definitely clue. Go ahead, Robert. You got to see your hand up there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I volunteer for the same career coaching
Nice.
thing. I did it last year. Again, I thought I was like, this is weird, but it's a new program by the Ontario government. So all the schools are mandated to have career coaching for the 9 and 10s. So guarantee you everyone here will be approached at one point in time by the school boards. And last year I spread myself too thin. I volunteered at I went to Guelph, I went to Brantford.
Oh, no.
I went really
Yeah.
far, and I realized by the time Hamilton was available, I was just burnt out. So this year I'm just doing Hamilton, and for the gas and all that, I can't travel too far. But
I saw that. They hit you up right away as soon as you do one. They're like, here's 4 more. And you're like, oh, okay.
They're desperate. Yeah. They're desperate to fill those up. But like your experience, every school is different, especially because they're still kind of figuring out what format actually works. A couple schools, you went classroom to classroom, like one for a 2-hour period and then another, and then there was a small group. But other ones, the entire grade 9 and 10s were in the gymnasium all at the same time.
Oh,
and
my.
There was individual tables, but you couldn't hear anybody. Everybody was yelling. And then the schools at my old high school, Brebeuf, I went there, and the principal was yelling. It was just however, with that said, most kids don't pay any attention. They don't care. It's just a couple-hour break. But once you'll get 1 or 2 kids that are genuinely interested, and they're asking you pointed questions, and they're really curious, and you really feel like you're making a difference. So it makes it worth it. And I got a client last year by volunteering, a decent client too. So I was like, wow, because you're meeting other business owners and whatever, and you go around and you see what they're doing, you hand a card, you never know, right? So it's almost networking worthy.
Yeah, no, totally. And some of those kids that look like they're not listening, they just don't know how to fake they don't know how to do that. I found like I would, ask them questions. I had to watch myself because I was trying to explain the concept of productivity, and I used AI as an example. Say if you wrote an essay, and then I was like, oh, but then I'm like, oh, but wait, don't do that. Don't do that example. And I'm like, and you're only like 15 minutes with it. I spent the whole time unwinding myself from this AI suggestion. I'm like, Richard, you're ruining these people's lives. That was good. Anyhow, but yeah, good kudos for you. And the connection, I met a guy in there who's a retired government worker that I'm going to have a conversation with him on behalf of my son who's taking political science. So totally, yeah. You never know, right? Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, don't worry, Richard. They're all using AI anyways.
No, I know. But the teacher is right there. The teacher's right there, and I'm like, whoa, Rich, what are you saying? Like, I'm just trying to oh God, it was just going the wrong way.
They're all using it. I'm going to give you a very quick story, and before I give you my update, my 11-year-old. So she is in grade 6. Everybody, okay? She's not high school. She's not even middle school. They know about not only ChatGPT, as everybody knows, they know about something that actually is called Zero GPT. Not sure if anyone has heard of this. So what you do is you take your ChatGPT answer and you run it through Zero GPT so that it humanizes it. So you're like, what? Who taught you this? Like, why do you know this in grade 6? And my daughter doesn't use the tools just because I see what she does at home, and at school her teacher is not encouraging. But then my son, who's in grade 4, grade 4, again, 2 years younger, his teacher is encouraging and said, yeah, you can use ChatGPT if you want.
What?
You can.
They-
And
they-
then
It is
from there,
not.
it unravels, right? And then I have to do the
Yeah.
backpedaling of like, so why do you think your teacher suggests you can use it? Do you think it's free to replace your thinking? Is it just to start an idea? Like I have to quickly, top up on that. And I don't think his teacher is a bad teacher, by the way, in any way, shape, or form. I think they're just all trying to deal with the reality of AI is everywhere. And kids latch onto things quickly. They find out about things much quicker than we even think, right? So don't worry about the AI thing, Richard. You're fine.
Yeah, I'm safe. I was going to say it's just like sex education. If somebody's not teaching them, they're learning it. They're learning it somewhere, right?
I had this
So-
conversation with my husband too recently. So anyhow, but onto my sector update. Don't want to go there. What I'm finding is similar to you, Robert. I am, and to Vanessa, I'm doing some mentoring as well, and it's through the Startup Lab, which is, related to the Lazarus School of Business. I'm not sure if how many people know that school, but it's kind of, it's out Guelph way too, right? It's all.
Is it attached to another university, Marta, or is it just?
It is
University of. Is it Guelph University?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Guelph. I was like, I had a brain freeze there. But one of the reasons why I did it wasn't just to mentor. It was because I was curious to see if I would connect with other like-minded mentors and lead to, again, further collaborations, further just, understanding how other people are doing their business. And typically, if you're going to mentor in a group, which is what I choose to do, I prefer not to do just a one-on-one. I feel that's very taxing on your schedule. But if you're doing a group dynamic, then you are going to be positioned with like-minded people, because if I'm attacking the branding and someone's attacking the, let's call it marketing for lack of a better word, and then someone's attacking, so we're all kind of like in that similar sector where we can complement each other. So still in early days for me. I've only been doing it for a few months, but it's interesting. And so I just wanted to mention that, I would love for that situation to happen, because then it's like all the pieces of the pie make sense to you, right? You did this good thing. You really do want to mentor. You do want to, feel good about giving of your time. But then it's nice when those other things fall into place too. It's like, but I met a great person that wants to do some, collaboration type of thing, right? Or it turns into a client. That's really great. And then the other thing I was going to mention is I'm noticing one of my larger clients is really gung-ho on government grants right now. So I'm diving into the world of grants, which is like not my world. But it's interesting, and it's been a big learning process for me. So I feel like a lot of people are waking up to this, like so much is out there and available to you in terms of funding. Clearly you have to qualify is the thing, right? And then once you qualify, it's a lot of work, as I'm sure someone like Vanessa would know, to write grants. And Richard, you know that just from writing some grants and doing RFPs, like it's a lot of work. So you do have to assess, is it worth the effort? Meaning, how successful or will you be at getting the approval? But that's kind of where I'm at, which is interesting because it's not where I live, right? I typically am directing a brand position, turning that strategy into visuals. It's just very different.
I could tell you, for that little fight that you have in your head, is this worth what you got to get rid of that really early, because you're fighting with it the whole time you're working, right? And it's just distracting in the background. I think at the very least, you will perfect your positioning of the organization or whatever it is from that exercise in a different way, because you're requesting money. It's much more, I want to be regulated, but it's much more thorough in terms of how you display yourself. So if you can get rid of that stupid wrestle that you have in your head, because I had that at the beginning all the time. Am I wasting my time? Am I wasting? It just doesn't go away. It's absolutely, you just want to get rid of that and just keep, and just say, yep, I'm doing this. It's going to be worthwhile. And whatever happens, you're going to be benefiting from it. So I think it's great that you're doing that. And I know that Dorothy was talking about it, and I'm going to need to catch up with you guys just to learn a little bit. What did you guys learn in that process? It'd be exciting to hear when you get a handle on that. So that's good. What's the other thing in the collaborating in the group? I think there's just like there's so many different ways to learn right now, and that I love that opportunity, just seeing how somebody, like, so they're presenting students, in this case, presenting a challenge. You're hearing different ways to attack that challenge from the different expertise, and it just really gives you an appreciation for where you fit in to that whole grand scheme of things and how you can labor, layer on top of somebody else's efforts and stuff and to make yours do well. I think it's great that you're doing that. So again, don't kick yourself in the back thinking you're wasting it. It's never a waste of time. I think you never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. And just thinking long game, I think is great. A great opportunity there. What, Christina, did you ever, I know we met with Ryan, you didn't get a chance to, are you going to go to his next meetup, or we talked?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I love the idea of just sort of social, raise a glass and kind of have good conversations. And it sounds like there's a really great group of people there. Yeah, I know. I just had a women in sports event that night, so I couldn't make the first one. But yeah, no, most definitely. Assuming I'm free, then for sure I will.
Eric was sitting beside me casually explaining how to network and how people, like, telling me how people don't know how to network. And I was just listening because of like everything he was telling me, like, oh, I would do exactly what that person did. Let me hear what you say you should do. That was really interesting to hear. Like, no, it's just about, from a sales guy, his perspective is about starting the relationship. This is not the place to have the transaction. It's just about taking it, like getting, like, putting words in his mouth, but like just putting the seed in play and then kicking it off somewhere else. And I ended up spending a whole lot of time talking about BNI. And I was on the way to drive home. Man, I was really hammering Christine about BNI. I didn't let go of that freaking that thread. Like poor Christina sitting right beside me. But it's just like there's just so much to. It's like there's a different way to get new business and a different approach and different culture in it that's worth learning, right? And like you can get a lot from somebody who's spent a lot of, like Marta knows that, you get a lot from somebody who's done that a lot and kind of perfected that game. I think it's worth kind of like digging in when you can to ask people about it. Just don't overwhelm them.
But almost tying your two things together, like that, and whatever, not at all to go into the BNI thing. I think the one thing it does do, and there's other ways of doing this too, is like a concise kind of description of like who you're looking for, like what you do, who you're looking for, and like best referrals, like, or I guess who you're looking for, kind of your ask for that week and best referrals, or what your ask is that the, like, because I think what he was saying, example, it's at that networking event, is that he just had someone that just like kept on wanting to just talk about themselves, and not recognizing they were at an event where he kind of wanted to meet a few different people and like there might be a great connection. And but I guess it's just how people approach different events. Some people, and there's that fine line. You also don't want to be so cursory that you're not actually showing genuine interest in someone, but like, wherever that balance is.
I feel like I've been to a few of them. You kind of got to get it in your system. You're not meeting everybody, right? Because if you try to, it's going to come off like that cursory, that you're going to probably meet 3 or 4 to make them good conversations, right? So that's where, and my thing is, I have a natural, I ask a lot of questions, right? So then it ends up like I ask questions, and anything all about them. I never really fit my own, like I never transitioned back. So it's a little bit of like, how do you figure that back and forth? I was going to ask you, Kim, how BizCon, like you said it was good in writing, but what did you like about it?
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, like I've really put myself out the last month. I've been to 2 large events. One of them was BizCon in Mississauga, and I found the 3 speakers were really valuable as they were talking about marketing, telling your story. One was on AI, whereas I found the trade show a little not disappointing. It was well done, but I found that the exhibitors weren't really what I was looking for my business. It was more, I found, focused towards brick and mortar stores. Like there were a lot of like renovation companies, or, oh, do you need a cleaning service? And so it wasn't really for like the small entrepreneurs that work from home, I found. But it was a really good event, I found, to attend. I want to say there was probably 400 or 500 people there. And so it was the 3 speakers kind of at the beginning, then they opened up the trade show. And so then it was just a good afternoon, kind of networking, met a lot of people, which was, I also had met some people that I had only had face-to-face or online before. So good to kind of meet in person. And then another event that I went to just last week was local here in Milton. One of the small
businesses downtown decided to host a networking event for small businesses. And so I think this was the first or might have been the second time they've hosted this event. And they really didn't know how many people to expect. And I want to say there was probably close to 100 people at a little coffee shop between 7 and 9 o'clock last Thursday. And I met people that I've lived in Milton for 13 years, and I felt like I knew the business community. There were people that I had never knew that had businesses. So it was so good to just have that. And they're planning to do it now twice a year instead of just once a year.
So just to summarize, the coffee shop held a networking event. That is really smart, because they're going to sell a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
It is a place where you would then later have that second meeting. That's a really smart idea.
It was a really smart idea. And Marta, do you know the Barn Door Studio?
I do know the place. Every time I drive by, I always say I should go in there.
That's where it was.
Interesting. Okay.
So small location, but so some people were coming and going, but I think they need to max out the capacity, because it was almost hard to have conversations because it was too busy.
Yeah. Okay.
Was that 7 at night, right? 7 at night?
Yeah, in the evening.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a lot for that time of day too, right?
And right before the long weekend as well, right before Good Friday. So I was surprised.
And I wanted to give you a shout out. I've been reading Callum's newsletter. I almost want to say to him, wow, it's almost too much. It's like volumes of information. I'm just like, whoa, at the end of it, I need to have a break or something like that. But it's good. How has the reception been? Is there? I don't know if it's easy to kind of. I don't want to say ROI, but how's the return on the effort been on that? Is it measurable, or is it hard to say?
So this was a real Callum endeavor, which is that during Christmas break our whole family was sick the entire time, but Callum doesn't really chill very well. So this is what he did. He wrote the first one of these and said he was going to launch it, and then I found out afterwards. And we had a different newsletter before this that was a list that was getting old or whatever. Anyway, when he first launched this, it just went to people doing business with us. So at first it was a super small list, and since we've opened it up to a lot more people, but it does well in that it has a really high open rate and no one unsubscribes. I think because it's a new list. Is it a lead generator? Not so far, but
it's still a thought lead. That's another slow burn too, right? So, but go ahead, sorry.
If anyone's interested, it's on AI search and visibility, and it's called the Visibility Insider. And it's a once a month thing. Email me, I can send you the link or message me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been good. We've done a newsletter sporadically for years, and this is the first time. Callum's doing great doing it consistently. But then also we get a lot of positive feedback every time we send it, which is great. People respond to the email.
Yeah, I feel like that is. I used to do that a lot more when I had my web development company, and just little things. Not like Callum puts about 6 months into the 1 month. There's a lot of information. I don't know. I think maybe that's just your industry. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and he's keeping everybody up to speed, which I think is great from a client perspective. It shows thought leadership, but also from a client, I didn't know I needed. It's almost like learning about your car, and you should be looking at this, you should be looking at that. I wouldn't know unless I read that. So I think that's good value there. But I used to just a lame newsletter about the work I had done recently would always trigger, oh, Rich, I've been meaning to get back to you about X, Y, and Z, right? So I think I feel like it's a good slow burn, but it's tough because me as a recipient, I'm really, really safe with my time. I'm really, if I don't find a connection, I'm going to unsubscribe. I think if you don't list that you are, if I don't know who you are and I can't figure it out, I will unsubscribe to. But I think that's happened from Google inside this networking group where I'm like, oh shit, I didn't mean to unsubscribe. I didn't realize it was this person. Because I'm just who that would be maybe a number one, identify yourself in a way that people that have a relationship with you could figure that out really soon, because they'll welcome it more. But I just feel I started and stopped it. That's why I was asking. So I feel like there's different ways that you can create this intimate relationship. And I think a newsletter, if you're good at not spamming. And if you're good at keeping it relevant, like you guys are doing, I think it's a really good way of, aside from LinkedIn posts and other things like that. And I was going to say, and I was going to say this, kudos to Catherine and Vanessa and Kim thing too, and actually Christina, is that I've been writing. I made myself. I said I'm going to be like these guys in my group. I'm going to write more consistently. I'm going to do it if it hurts. Like Good Friday came, like, oh my, every Friday is my day to write. What do I do? So Thursday night I wrote it, and I forced myself, but I'm not getting a lot of activity on LinkedIn, but I'm still seeing like my even at the Google Business, because I posted on the Google Business, my Google profile now, whatever, they keep changing that stupid name, man. You probably know that more than I do. But my numbers go up on there, and I can see the spike in my analytics. And it's just like, it's not like spikes, not like hundreds, but like there's definitely notable change. I'm like, okay, even though you may not see the immediate reception from the first post, it's doing something, which is interesting. So I thought, kudos to you guys. Works. Who knows? Content marketing actually works, guys. You heard it from me. Email's not dead. They've been saying, you know how long they've been saying email's dead?
Like 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, more than that. I swear 20 years maybe. But it's been interesting. So there's just like, I really like having a plethora of angles to keep kind of cycling around to get because you get bored, and B, you don't know what's gonna, like, one thing you think like I was saying to somebody the other day, Alignable. I freaking hate Alignable because they send so much stuff. I attended one networking event and I thought it was, it's just garbage. It was a bunch, like, it was literally like the guy would come on, okay, I'm gonna join you with somebody else. Hey, how did that go? Okay, another one, right? And I was like, I didn't meet anybody, right? From that call, though, to show where you don't know where things are coming, right? One call that I didn't even think went well. I didn't get any leads from it, but I had a friend looking for developers, and I met two developers that were the type they were looking for on that call. Sent them both referrals. So I'm like, whoa, wait a second here. Like sometimes what you think is a dud is not necessarily a dud, right? You just got to give it a little bit of breathing room, I guess. So that was for me. It was. It was a tech group, and it was a bunch of people like me. So I didn't, again, and it's a bunch of, like, it's for you guys, if you're going to try it, it's heavily American. Like, I think there was 3 Canadians out of 30, right? People or something like that, really low percentage. And to me, that's my market. I don't really want to market, again, not that I have anything against Americans, just that I don't feel like I know the market well enough to add value there. And I just want to kind of keep it closer to home. So that's my thing on that. But so anyhow, sorry, rambling about that. What about you guys? Anything else? Anything new sector wise, or anything new? I mean, I feel like there's always something new from everything, search and everything like that. So anything? No. How about any events? Marta, how is it? You've been in Milton for now how long?
Well, since the summer, so we're going in about, what is that, 9 months?
How was the up, like, do you feel like you're at a loss because you're in Mississauga and knew that area, now you're, or it wasn't far enough?
No, I think that's fine. I think I wasn't really making too much of an in-person effort in Mississauga anymore in terms of networking or, really like soliciting business in person. So I really feel like that's okay. I was just really seeking, we were just wanted a different community for our family, right? So that was like the bigger picture goal. And I think it was still a good decision. But yeah, in terms of location, I think I checked out the Milton Chamber once. I do need to go back, I would say, because you can't judge something on a one event usually, unless you get a very bad vibe, like you just described with Alignable or whatnot. Yeah, so I think I just do probably need to immerse myself a little bit more on what are the businesses in the community that may or may not, hopefully they are aligned with what I'm looking for, but you don't know till you really expose yourself a little more.
I was talking to Allison just this morning. Allison
White?
Yeah, Allison White. I was going to say White, but I think, no, this can't be Allison. And she was telling me she picked up a client, was an old client of hers from another business. And I thought, well, they're smart, like just reaching out and actually, like, without intent of doing a transaction, how are you doing? How are things? And here's what I'm doing now. You never know. I remember I did that consistently one summer, like pretty like Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go through my LinkedIn, and it was like 3 months. I'm like, oh, that was a complete waste of time. And then 3 months later, I started getting activity from that. I'm like, oh, I closed that door way too quick, right? So it's interesting. You got to kind of play, and I kick myself because I should be doing that a little bit more. Like, you got this giant LinkedIn. It's just like one of those things. Time sort of robs you, and some other priority takes the lead there. So that's good. One of the things I was going to say, this is more Christine. Well, you guys that do the SEO, because I've been consistently posting on my site. I use Google Sites. If you guys, so like, can you use? I think you said you use Wix, right? So it's like a simple Google Sites is like so simple to put up a site and so simple to update. It's just insane. And obviously it doesn't cost me anything because I'm using it with a Google Workspace, right? Other than my domain name. But I got to a point now, there's just little things that are inhibiting me in terms of kind of getting, like, for one, it's difficult. Your navigation's kind of fixed, right? You can go horizontal, you can go vertical, but any kind of sub navigation, it just keeps listing it down. So if you can imagine, you have a ton of articles on a site, it doesn't really take care of those well. So I've been doing a lot of reading, trying to figure out what my next platform. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go to, like, just WordPress just handles that type of activity so well. Yeah, it's made for it, right? And then all the other search benefits from all the tools on there. So I've been looking at that. Just so you know, it takes me a long time to move. I say this now, it'll probably be 6-8 months from now before I actually get off my tail and actually do something, because I need to find a block of time where I can recreate site and relaunch it into another domain. But I find that I've been through LinkedIn Learning and whatnot, just trying to do some investigation to find, is it worth it to go through that kind of pain? And I'm really slowly, gradually coming around to, it's going to give me more window of opportunity moving forward, which I know you guys probably know from your WordPress experience, but just like taking what I've got to the extent that I could, so I could benefit from it as long as I could. So I know. How long have you been using Wix, Kim? Is it a long time now, or?
Since I started, so almost 6 years ago.
So
Yeah.
has it changed? I mean, that has got to be
It's been
changing all the
evolving.
time.
They've been adding like new like modules and different like features to it, and so I probably should sit down and look at it, because I kind of did the website and I like update the content on it, but I haven't really looked at how can I like maximize the tools that it actually offers.
And Marta, you're using one like it. I don't know if you're using. I remember looking into yours, but I can't remember what you're using.
It's Squarespace.
Squarespace. So yeah, they're very, very similar. Because Squarespace also has. There's a company called Square. I don't know if Squarespace and Square like that does the POS.
Yes,
inventory.
exactly, but they're not
They're
related.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can link them together for sure. It is a method of payment you can use for e-commerce, but it's very different. I mean, I would say Squarespace is very good for creative people because it allows you to have that sort of flexibility with templates. Like you don't need to know a lot of coding, so you can still do, you can make some good modifications. And again, without talking out of turn, I'm not the web developer or the web designer that did it she works with me. But yeah, anyhow, I use Squarespace because I feel like that was her platform that she's certified in. So it made it much easier to build it from there, and I can customize them.
They are I hear them promoting Squarespace a lot on some of the positives too. One of them in particular is a communications guy, just Stanford prof, that talks about, Think Fast, Talk Smarter, I think is this pod. They promote a lot. So they're obviously, if they're putting that kind of money into it, they're, you can guarantee their future. Sorry, Catherine, did you have something, or is it?
Yeah, I think that like Wix has a very good marketing campaign for like a very mediocre product.
Okay.
Yes, Christine was nodding to that. Like we would try really hard to never touch a Wix website, quite honestly, in terms of SEO. If you're going to go with a builder, Squarespace is a great one. But honestly, like WordPress in 2026 is also pretty easy. And then like from our perspective, you have control. And especially if, like Richard, you're trying to pump out content, you want control. You want control of your servers and like all the rest of it that comes along with it. So that's
so just so for Kim's sake, because what is it that you don't like? Is it because it's proprietary and it's locked in that you can't? Yeah, that's what I figured. So the very thing that makes it really super easy for Kim makes it challenging for anybody to help. And that's the same situation I'm in with the Google site. I used to talk to Mike Hallamar, Mike of Sneed Search, and he's always like, I was always shocked. Like, it is a Google product. Like, why wouldn't it be good at search? Why wouldn't they think to make that good at search? But he did warn me about it. But it, for the longest time, it's just so. And Kim, this is something you got to weigh. It's so easy that your productivity's up there. That you got to weigh that against. Okay, what are the benefits I'm losing against? So, but I appreciate it. No, and there's good reasons to use it. Good reasons, like if you're starting with. I could totally agree. Like when somebody would come to me with it, like, and when I used to do web development, somebody come to me with any kind of like bottled up site, it was just like, ooh, man, I wish I could help you, but it's just like there's limited things you can do with it. But I think that changes here and there. But that's good. Thank you, Catherine, for sharing that. I appreciate it. So, what the world of so you were talking a couple of things, Christina, when we had lunch together. The world of search and how you're dealing with clients and stuff like that, big clients, little clients, and the differences. And you were telling me about different when you had a client. And I'm sorry if I'm like sticking words in your mouth there. That it's not coming exactly how you said it, but from what I got of it, like you had some large clients like MSC, and then some smaller ones that you're trying to accommodate with. Like, how do I price this differently? Like pricing the client, which is something they always tell you to do, right? So, and you were sharing a little bit of that experience. If you don't mind sharing with these guys, but sorry to put you on the spot and all that, but.
Oh no. Yeah, no, it's funny. I don't necessarily remember all the pricing discussion, but yeah, I do have larger and smaller clients. And I think probably more, I think my focus is trying to figure out how, because I have a lot of smaller clients, is potentially trying to have more kind of mid-sized clients than the smaller ones. But yeah, absolutely. I think pricing effectively for clients is important, and trying to decide on that is key. So yeah, it's funny. I'm like, I don't know what I'm like a little bit out of it today. I can't even remember what I was talking about with pricing, but I think probably like a lot of us, it would like probably sometimes the small clients take just as much time as some of the larger clients. And so just trying to sort of upsize the client load and having it sort of be smaller. I think my main thing that I'm trying to focus on now is just sort of allocating my time effectively, and just like allocating the time to work on the business versus just sort of like in the business itself, like on the clients, and just forcing myself to figure out like about outsourcing. And there's a variety of different tasks that, as Marta knows, that I have punted down the field a few times, that I'm trying to be my own accountability partner, but maybe I need another accountability partner to actually make it happen. But anyway, all is good though. All is great. I'm very happy. Looking forward to spring, summer to come.
Oh man, yeah. And I went up for a run this morning, and it was snowing. Like, I did snow in Mississauga. Like, I just assumed
it snowed downtown too.
Far up north, right? And I'm like, oh come on, when is this going to end? -7, -8, and windy. And I was going to say, Catherine, like when you said Callum, he doesn't like sitting still. My wife has been going out with her sister on Saturdays, and I'm like, oh yeah, see you later. I sit down, I get the computer up. So I start working on my business, no clients bugging me and stuff like that. I got a coffee going. I'm all spread out, really comfy and stuff. I love days like that. I know that sounds really pretty pathetic, but I love being able to just sit, no pressure, just sitting there, catching up things that you didn't get a chance to work. Like the working on your business, definitely a lot more fun than doing client work. So especially when you're learning things for a client, you should be using on yourself, right? So go ahead, Robert.
I get so happy when I look at my calendar and there's nothing scheduled, no meetings. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have to, I could just work today and not get interrupted and client me. I mean, I do a lot of networking, which is fine. It's part of the job. But yeah, those days without any meetings booked are nice. So
I don't know about you, but the time just flies, and you feel super energized at the end of the day when you should be just drained. But you just like, there's something about like you're on point, right?
If you've been legitimately productive on a particular project and yeah, if I hadn't had to go between back and forth to a million different things, it makes a difference. You know, you can make an impact on, you know, yeah, I mean, 4 hours, you can get really far on one project
Mhm.
and not far at all on 20 projects.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So
Oh,
it
look at that.
depends
4 hours.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, depends on what your time allotment is, right? So yeah.
Time's a funny thing. You don't get it back, but those days when it's like free time, oh man, it's like gold. That's the whole reason you're doing what you're doing, really,
Yeah.
is to be able to have times like that. So I totally agree with you there.
Mhm.
What's your first, do you have how do you keep track of the stuff that you know when you have time? What do you use for your to-do list? I use
I use
Google Tasks.
Asana.
Asana. Oh yeah,
Asana.
yeah. Project management. Wow.
Every any task, no, as big or as small, gets put in there. Then I use uh, the list. It'll sort everything by today, upcoming, and later. So I put everything today, and honestly, I just go top down and work as far. Sometimes there's a particular project in there that'll take longer. So I look to see any of the tasks that will take a minute and I get them done. Tasks that might take 5 minutes, and then I'll get those done. And then it kind of frees up the time for the bigger
Big one.
tasks.
I
I don't
like
know
it.
if that's the best.
Is that the same one you're using with your clients too? Like Asana? Like you're using when you have client.
I don't use, I've experimented with things like that I shared with the client, but I don't know, they just always get confused and prefer email and end up emailing me everything anyway. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
organize
yeah.
my own projects and I use email and Google Drive to share documents with them and anything like that. I keep it as simple as possible for them and just organize my own life as best as possible. I used to use
Organize it.
Basecamp, which
Basecamp?
Basecamp
Yeah.
was good.
Oh, Basecamp. Yeah, yeah, yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and there's a few others similar, but then you got to get them to use it, and they're confused, and they're wondering why they're getting all these notifications, and so yeah,
I'm a big proponent of making life easy for your clients because it makes life easy for you in the end. But I like that you're behind the scenes organizing the chaos and the
trying to
using the
anyway.
project. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's you probably come off looking really organized and making it simple for them just to use email. So I like that
Yeah,
approach. Hey, so guys, the next time we meet is going to be 3 weeks from now. I want to get like if I've been doing this sector updates, personal updates, and often during the call I will ask personal stuff updates and stuff. But if that works for you or not, let me know. Just shoot me an email or whatever. Any kind of feedback. I did a post on Ken, what was that post you commented on? It was like 13 signals about your website.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It was good.
it's yeah, it's interesting. There's two things on there, which I wish I brought this. That was the third thing. There, I just remember what the third thing is. Something to ponder on is he recommends talking about the process, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do it. Feed out the step by step what the client's what your expectations are from the client. What does a scenario look like for you? And then he also talked about productizing. And then that's been a conversation in the agency world that's been back and forth. But he gives some examples of why it can work for you if you have that type of environment. He's just this guy just bangs it out. He doesn't use AI. He's just like It's not like Vanessa quality writing, but it's like he's like his thoughts, random thoughts just coming out of his head. And I found it like, oh, okay, these are the things I've always talked about. I know Mike Hallenmeyer, his big thing when he started his business is to be point blank about his prices. Nobody, and at the time in search and whatever he was doing, everybody was so mysterious about those things. He's like, I'm just going to put them out there because I wish everybody else would do it. So what else would you do differently after reading that list? And because I've been thinking, do I put the price of that initial discovery, like that's the first thing that happens? Do I spell out my services, but I still keep it vague enough, right? For me. But what would you change after reading that list? And just have a look and let me know what you think. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to let you have 3 minutes back. You like woo-hee? I know it's not a lot, but it's good. Always good to catch up with you guys. We're the next in person. I'm doing it. If you guys are keeping up, I'm doing it per quarter at the end of the quarter. So next time we meet is June, and we are definitely going to be on the patio in Hamilton because it has a nice patio. And we're going to be on the patio. Christina, I don't know if you've ever seen the patio for Landwehr. It wraps around the corner of the building.
Oh,
So
great.
it's quite big and it's all shaded. So it's quite nice. So we'll definitely be doing that. And Mississauga, they roll up the Bucas is a very small but cute little cafe, and they roll up. They have garage doors for walls, and they just kind of roll them up, and the outside comes in. So we'll be doing that. I'm fingers crossed for June that the weather's going to work on that. All right. So talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of the April.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Good one,
Thanks.
everyone.
Great to see you.
Good one.